trying every drugstore foundation I can get my hands on. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Rebecca. Today I am going to try as many drugstore foundations that I have in my collection that are geared for dry or mature skin, and I thought what I would do is I'm going to apply it to this cheek. You're gonna watch how it looks. I'm gonna let you know my thoughts. I'm just gonna keep going down the line, back to back. I watched NIKKI La Rose do this with Sephora foundations, and it was a very long video. She was very thorough. I will not be as thorough as her. And that was a very expensive video, I'm sure. She went to Sephora and bought every foundation. And this means she's not buying like skin tints or tinted moisturizers or kind of, you know, these hybrid things that are out there. So she was buying foundation formulas from like the lowest price point Sephora collection to La Mer. It's a very great video. I will put it in my description box if you want to check it out. But yeah, so we're gonna just do a drugstore version. I'm actually not wearing sunscreen or primer or anything like that, just basic skincare. And it's gonna be a lot. We're gonna see how long I last. I am going to be applying these with a brush, not a sponge or my fingers, because I am not quite doing like I said, she did foundations. I am including either a skin tint or a tinted moisturizer or something to that effect, because I am gearing this for a drier skin type. If you want me to do this again and do it for matte or just like normal, you know, normal skin, combination skin, let me know. I mean, I'm happy to, I have a lot in my collection. We can do full coverage, we can do light coverage, you know, like, yeah. We're gonna begin CoverGirl. This is the Essence. This is the Skin Perfection Essence. This has bakuchiol and it is a fresh tint, very much like a skincare. I really enjoyed this. I am using shade Light Medium, and I am going to go in with my BK Beauty 109, not including the cat hair. So this formula is a very thin formula, a very hydrating formula. It has the encapsulated pigment, and I loved this. So let's see. It goes on like water, and I do feel like it runs light. I thought the shade range was, because it's a tint, I think they can get away with saying, well, we're not going to come up with all the shades, so, you know, because it's a tint. Fair enough. So I'm not quite sure how it works for, you know, the darkest skins. But for this type of, if you're in between, if you're very pale or medium, and I think, did I just do one pump or two? I feel like a little goes a long way. It stays on the skin like water. I like to rub it in. I actually do it over makeup. Like I'll put it on as a last layer over makeup. And when my face is done and I want to just kind of tone down my blush or add moisture. So it is a very watery formula, but I think it has more coverage than I would expect with something so watery. And actually I felt like my face and the complexion looked really nice all day long. It looked really hydrated, and I love it for layering. I love layering my foundation products, any kind of cover, concealer. So I think that I really like this because it can build. So it actually does build. If you let this sit and then just kind of let it sink into the skin, you can put on a little bit more for more coverage. But I enjoy the CoverGirl Simply Ageless very much. And it's not for everyone, but it is if you're dry. So there you go. There's that. and this is in the $20 price point. So I think maybe working our way from price point on down. The next one is this Neutrogena Serum Foundation. This is a really lovely formula if you're looking for something that is lightweight, very skin-like, has skincare ingredients. Another drawback to this though is the lack of inclusive shades, and Neutrogena is kind of notorious for that. Also, folks, I just wanted to say that my skin is very reactive. It flushes on contact. Don't worry if you see me turning kind of red or pink. That is me, that is not the products. And I also will let you know if something has fragrance or anything kind of in there that is a trigger for a rosacea or an eczema sensitive skin. I think just about everything here is friendly. So this has really good ingredients in terms of, you know, skincare, hydrating. It's a serum formula, and it goes on very thin, very liquidy. It does give a skin-like finish, and a lot of influencers really compare this to some of the high-end. I've seen quite a few channels really sing its praises, and rightfully so. I totally get it. I'm gonna use my BK Beauty 101, and I'm just going to apply it, and you can see how watery it feels, just like water. It's very shiny. It has skincare, and I think it feels really nice. There is no fragrance, and it just blends out. You know, you don't have to really think about it. The beauty about products intended for dry skin that have moisturizing properties is they blend. They don't have kind of a curve in terms of when a matte product, you have to really, really apply it carefully, because sometimes it can set, it can look just very visible on the skin. Whereas I think these just kind of go in very naturally and, you know, very easily. I feel like this doesn't have as much coverage as I would love for it to have. I don't think it does enough blurring, kind of tricking the eye to my imperfections. I can see some of my skin coming through. I can see some of my imperfections coming through, red, discoloration, dark spots, but it is still lovely on the complexion, and it doesn't go in my pores weird. It doesn't streak. But as far as foundations go, if you want more coverage, I would skip this one. Next up, we have the L'Oreal what is this called? True Match Nude. This is another serum foundation. This came out quite like a year or so ago, and I feel like it was really in the beginning of the serum hybrid, especially for drugstore formulas. And I remember loving this. This has a lot more coverage. It is a thin formula, and it does give really good coverage. And it also, I believe, either has a fragrance or denatured alcohol. I can't remember. I think it was the denatured alcohol, but the jury is out on that, because dermatologists like Dr. Dre, she'll say if it's in a small enough amount, it really just evaporates, and it is only there as a delivery system more than sitting on the skin and creating a barrier problem. Denatured alcohol can irritate the skin if it just sits there and kind of upsets your skin barrier. In a foundation, in small amounts, it shouldn't be too much of a trigger. And if that's the case and you love a foundation, but it does have something in there like fragrance or denatured alcohol, and you're like me and you have very easily reactive skin, don't use that product every day. So use it every other day, or you know, skip a couple days between it, because it's then you're just going to minimize any kind of reaction. This came in another sort of varied shade range, and I remember not quite sure about what the selection is right now, what's in stores. I think it does go pretty dark. And I think I got shade 2-3, and I don't remember if this was a little bit too light or a little bit too yellow, because sometimes drugstore formulas oxidize. The dropper was very much criticized. Nobody liked the dropper. Okay, I'm gonna, you definitely wanna shake it up. This is this is a thicker formula than some of the others. I would say that for a serum foundation in this liquid form, it definitely has quite the, you know, it's a thicker, and it also have, like I said, it's got lots of pigment. So I want to say this is like a half dropper full, and it feels like a lot. I am going to go in with my NIKKI 07. This is her 17. This is the NIKKI, this is the BK Beauty NIKKI La Rose brush. This is in the N17, and I am going to just see how it goes. Yeah, this was the kind of tan summery shade. This, I think, brush thins out the formulas. I think that the BK Beauty 101 and the 109 give it a more concentrated application. But this is beautiful, and it does give more coverage than the previous examples. It blends, it looks so good, so skin-like. It really does a good job of covering. I gotta say though, I don't think that that brush is really giving you the coverage. I think if you want more coverage, go in with your 101. Go in with a denser makeup brush and see what it looks like. I think, oh my God, this dropper is such a pain. I like the glass. I like a lot about it. Okay, so I am gonna build this just a bit so you can see how, yeah. And it's a lot more yellow, this formula, this shade. The True Match L'Oreal N3 and W3, one of my all-time favorite foundations. You know, not necessarily a dry skin or a mature skin formula. It's kind of a every person formula. But yeah, this one really, I just think that it buffs out so beautifully. It provides more coverage than maybe some of the other serums. I really like it. I really like it. And it doesn't come across as wet as the other formulas we tried, so I like it. I think it's really pretty. I think 2-3 is definitely my summer shade. Yeah. We're on a roll here with these serum dropper tops. Okay, so Maybelline did their Super Stay skin tint. This is a 24-hour skin tint. If I remember correctly, I think this is beautiful. This became very popular on the TikTok. It's got long wear claims, and it's probably, you know, like a medium coverage. I think it didn't necessarily claim serum. So it does have some skincare ingredients, but they don't call it a serum, as far as I can tell. And I have shade 118. I'm gonna shake it up really well. I think this dropper was better than the L'Oreal. Yes, I think it's because of the bottleneck is not as, what did they do that's different? I don't know. All right, that's good enough. It's a pretty good suspension. You know, it's not runny, it's not thick. It's just kind of just right. Okay, we are going to I'm gonna try my 106 brush, BK Beauty 106. This is a very nice this is a perfect brush for both cream products, liquids, and powders. So I kind of like to do, yeah. Okay, ooh. Yeah, actually I think this has more, I'm gonna get a little more out. So this shade 118 seems to be a really good match, and I think I use 118 in the powder formula too. No fragrance, has kind of just an ingredient scent, you know, and again really blends nice. I think it's very skin-like. I remember this wore well, and it didn't, it held up throughout the day. It looked nice. I have not ever tested anything for 24 hours. So yeah, but I think it is a really, I remember loving this formula. I've actually forgotten about it, and I forgot I had it. And then I was seeing so much kind of fuss recently online, and then I went, oh yeah, I should pull that out. So I think it's a really, really pretty foundation, and I might even like it better than the L'Oreal, just because I don't think there's a denatured alcohol in here, and it has just, it's just an easier bottle, and I think the shade range is a little more inclusive. So yeah, but it's beautiful. And I think actually the price point is a bit lower as well, and I like it. I really like it. It doesn't dry down. It feels very comfortable. It doesn't stay wet though. I think some of these others we've been putting on, I can actually, it's like I can see the hyaluronic acid coming out. This doesn't seem that way. It seems very, very luminous without being damp. And I think it just has kind of a nice glow to the skin. So I definitely recommend this. And I think I'd say for all skins. Very oily, but I think just about anyone can wear this. Okay, the next one I'm going to share with you is the Almay. This is the Smart Shade Almay. Again, kind of not great shade range. Sorry. I got shade light medium, and they reformulated this. I remember buying it several years ago, and I believe that they've since either reformulated, repackaged, or kind of remarketed it. This is the claim. It is a Smart Shade technology. So it comes out a weird, you know, kind of a white color, and then you activate it, and it is supposed to completely blend to match you. And I mean, I think it does. I think it's pretty good. And I actually think this is a lighter, for light medium, I think this is lighter than I expected it to be. So because I said I wasn't going to use my fingers, I'm going to try, what am I going to do? I might do my fingers at first with this, and I'm going to do just a little bit. This has SPF, so it's kind of neat that you can, I wouldn't rely on it for the SPF, but I think that adds to maybe the spreadability of it, and it doesn't have any fragrance or anything that I can tell that's triggering. I'm going to just now use the brush to kind of buff it out. It's not a lot of coverage, maybe light to medium. I can see quite a bit of my redness coming through, and it's a very comfortable formula. It feels nice on the skin. It doesn't settle into pores or lines, but it is definitely not a ton of coverage. I like that it looks very luminous, and I like that you can play with it. I think it's another great layering. I think all of these are really good for layering. When I say layering, I don't necessarily mean layering on top of itself. I mean layering with concealer, color corrector, powder. I find that I don't rely on my foundation for all the coverage that I need, because then I feel like it looks a little bit thick. So I'm a person who likes to sort of a la carte it and dab around and see what happens. I'm gonna just apply it like so and see if that changes. It's weird because it does apply, kind of looks like sunscreen, like it's pretty white. I also think that as I leave it to just kind of sit on my face for a minute, it actually does a nice job just sort of syncing up with my skin tone, and it's nice. I do like it. I think some people don't like the concept of this whole smart shade situation. So I actually think it also makes a really good primer. You know, there's something about it. It actually, yeah. I'm not saying it's not transfer resistant. I could easily wipe it off, but there's something about the way it kind of does a little bit of a dry down. And I think with the sunscreen in there, it might make a good primer where you can use it kind of like a corrector so that it blends to your skin, and then put, you know, some other foundation on top of that. Almay just doesn't get enough love, you know, but I have to say they've got some pretty good foundation, pretty good cosmetics. All right, so the next one I have is the Pretty Fresh from ColourPop, and this is the actual hyaluronic foundation. I do also have the tinted moisture in this line to show you. So I'm going to start with this one. And I think I remember I liked this. I don't remember if I got the shade though that worked. Light, is it 40N I think I got, or 40W? But it's a pretty good basic formula, very straightforward if you are looking for foundation in a kind of middle price point that has coverage, and it's without fragrance, you know, without anything else that goes in there. So I am loading up my 109, and there it goes. And I think that, I remember I liked how this blended. I like the coverage it gave. And yeah, it's a good shade match actually. This one doesn't go on watery. I feel like I can see it. My skin is just kind of oozing moisture in a good way. Yeah, it's got quite a bit of coverage. So if you look at that, it's definitely probably of the formulas the most coverage we've seen so far. And yet it is still very hydrating, very lightweight. It didn't take a ton of product to achieve this, and I mean, I think that that's the beauty, right? When you've got, you only need a little bit of product, and it can cover and provide sort of a disguise of your flaws. You know, and it's very, very, you know, it's dewy. It's a very dewy, when I touch it, I definitely can transfer, it can lift off. It doesn't have any kind of like, oh look, it's setting on its own. It doesn't do that. So, but I like it. I actually really like this. I kind of forgot about it. Pretty Fresh. All right, next, ColourPop Pretty Fresh in the Tinted Moisturizer. It's funny, I've had these for quite some time, and I think I remember enjoying both of them, but I also don't remember how they compared to each other. It's been a while that I haven't kind of done a side-by-side. I have shade Light 5N. This is a very nice container. You know, it's just your basic sort of tube pump, which I think is great for travel. I'm just gonna put a couple pumps of this out. And again, I'm gonna say, if I remember right, this is just maybe a less coverage version of the first. Okay, I actually think I've got more coverage with this. How is that possible? I think I went a little too light with the with this shade. So it's pretty good. It just looks a little pale. Yeah. Okay, now I take that back. This has less coverage, but more moisture. So this feels so similar to all the ones we've tried. It really is just giving me lots of moisture, not a ton of coverage. Look at the shimmer, the sheen on that. It doesn't give any kind of claims for long wear or, you know, it's very basic and it's very nice, but it isn't as, you're not going to get a ton from it, and which is not bad. It's like, it's a really good tinted moisturizer. Wet n Wild, the Dewy Photo Focus. Now, I remember when I first tried this and reviewed it, I really liked it. I think it has a couple caveats, if you will. So they have a original version, and then they came out with this dewy version. Did this one have a fragrance? I think this one had a bit of a fragrance, but honestly, I love the Wet n Wild foundations. I think that they are just phenomenal for the price point. You're really getting just a basic, I mean, Bethany Frankel raves about this. She says it's like the best foundation. I think she wears it, I think she has her makeup artist use it on her for her television appearances, you know, her different, the different things she does press. And I've got the shade Buff. So it does have this kind of paddle. Oops, is that too much? Is that too much? I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember. I'm gonna use my 109 brush, and oh yeah, I think this is a lot. I'm gonna just kind of dab. Okay, if I need more, yeah. Okay, so a little goes a long way. Yep. And I think this was a little bit more on the yellow side, this formula. So what I like about this that I already know is it blends beautifully. It wears nicely. I think if I remember when I reviewed it, and I think I reviewed it next to the original formula, and I kind of thought that, I honestly don't remember if I liked the original better than this or vice versa, but I was thinking like, maybe do we need dewy? And it's very dewy. It is very, very dewy. But I love the fact that it feels so comfortable on the skin. It looks beautiful and it wears nicely. It comes in a lot of shades. It's very affordable. If it has fragrance, the fragrance has faded, but there really isn't any other ingredients in here that are triggering. Maybe that's a new bottle and maybe they don't have fragrance in it anymore. Maybe the first formula when they launched it had a bit of fragrance. So I really enjoy it. If your skin is more normal, you don't want a dewy finish, try the original formula. It's beautiful. I think it's a good medium coverage foundation. Like, I think it gives plenty of coverage. It's not a full coverage, but for me, it's enough. It's enough. I love it. And I actually think that this shade, even though it looked a little yellow to begin with, I think it looks really good. So I'm a fan. Wet n Wild, you know, they're pretty great. Okay, last drugstore dry skin foundation for today. Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. I sort of rave about this all the time. I've made many Instagram reels on it, maybe YouTube shorts. I've included it in a lot of favorites videos, and I think a lot of people love it. I think there's maybe some people that don't like it. I don't know. Let's talk what makes it great. Okay, it's in a tube. We can take it with us, travel. In fact, I really think I need to get a fresh tube of this to travel. Okay, I've got shade Light here. Very affordable. It doesn't have fragrance. Love this because of it's hydrating. It has glycerin, dimethicone, squalane. Like, it has so many things in here that are really heavy hitters that the big guys and the fancy guys like to use, and it's in here. Now, I could probably say the con is shade range. I don't think there is a massive shade range, and it is probably not as inclusive as it could be, but it is considered a tinted hydrator. So again, that excuse is probably that they can be worked between other formulas, etc. So, but I do really, really enjoy this. So let's put it on. In fact, I'm gonna put it on all over my face. When they made this, they were working really well that day. Product and development was like, folks, have we got something for you? And I just think that for the price point, honestly, like this probably goes on very similar to all the other products, okay? All the other foundations that I have reviewed. You could argue that this pretty much wears the same. I think it gives more coverage than Neutrogena, than actually quite a few. I actually think this works better than the ColourPop in terms of coverage. It's very nice, very comfortable on the skin. It doesn't dry down, so if that bothers you, then it's not for you. Or if you have an oily skin, it's probably not for you. But just this is so beautiful. It really is beautiful. And like I said, I just think that they kind of kept something very straightforward, very simple. I think sometimes companies try a little too hard and miss the mark. And in this case, you know, I think if they were setting out to make a tinted hydrator that's both hydrating, gives good coverage, and is affordable, I think they nailed it. Yeah, so I don't know, you guys. Wet n Wild, I've loved just since I was 11. That's 40 years. How old am I? Yeah. Oh my God. It's been a long video. This side I think is like going, oh, this is great. And this side is like, let me take a break. This side needs a nap. This side is just, actually, it's not bad. You know what? My face is not angry. I also think that this was such a good exercise to prove to you. These formulas are all very skin friendly. I have a very reactive skin and my face is feeling fine. I am not going to have to slap on a whole bunch of Cica cream or anything like that. Like, I think I'm good. I'm good. So I hope this was fun for you, and it was fun for me. I will continue to make videos like this if you like them. So give this a thumbs up, give it a comment, share it. You know, if I see the views are high, I will make more like this. And yes, I know it's not a wear test. I know I'm not checking in 10 hours from now where I've already had my glass of wine and my lipstick is faded and I tell you about my day. But I think that this is a really good exercise in giving you the bullet points, you know, just sort of the, yeah, here's the brief. So, all right. Well, thank you again for watching. And I hope I didn't make this too terribly long. I shall see in the editing what happens in the final version. Okay. Thank you so much. Again, take care. I'll see you next time. Bye.